I heard Jackie
Morning.
say that we're live, so now I know we're live. Thank you,
You're live,
Jackie. Good
Hi,
to
guys.
see you. Hey, everybody. We've got so many new members here. Hold on just a second. I'm going to make sure we got the other recording thing going. Record to the cloud. Okay, great. Just for a little fail safe right there. We are all set. Welcome, everybody, to our daily success call for Monday, April 20th, 2020. John Lavinia here with you, as always.
Oh,
And
new shirt.
yeah, guess what? I am wearing something besides a black polo shirt today.
I know. I about fell off the bed.
It's got buttons. Look at
Looks
this.
good, John.
Thank you. Thank you for
You
that.
look nice.
Yeah.
Looking good.
You know.
It is
Miracles
dangerously
never
close
cease.
to all black, though. Like anything that's not black, I'm very, very cautious about. This one has a little bit of blue.
It
a
looks
little bit of white.
blue.
Yeah.
Looks blue.
Yeah. So
Looks good.
Esther, you got your wish. We are in a much bigger room now. So we
I
will
see
how that goes.
128 people. Yay.
Oh yeah, and the hits just keep on coming. Hey, I especially want to let's do this. We'll start with our usual gallery view of the day. I see Suzanne. Welcome, Suzanne. There's Allison. Darren,
Hello.
good to see you, Darren. Of course, there's Sandra. Susie, welcome. Tolu, I see your hat. Excellent hat every day. Very nice. There's Mark. There's Kim, Russell, Helen, Alex. Good to see you, Alex. Always a pleasure. There's Lisa and Sylvia. Welcome, Amy. We're going to go ahead and get started. I especially want to welcome our brand new members who I just met just moments ago. If you guys are here with us live, we've got Mervin and Lujuan. I hope I'm saying that right. Lujuan and Susan and Susan. Jawa, welcome to you. We've got Marta. She's here. She's awesome, by the way. Kelly's here. Kelly's awesome. Joyce is awesome. She's here, as so is the other Susan, as well as the other Susan. Today was Susan Day. Louise, and of course, Sam. Sam is here with us as well. Welcome, you guys, to the crew. Just so you all know, we just had a welcome session with the brand newest of new people here, which went on for almost a full half hour. Usually my welcome sessions are 15 minutes and I got other stuff. Today I had a couple extra minutes before I had to jump on here with you guys. I was almost late. Heavens forbid. You know my policy. If you can't be on time, be early, right? So I was almost late. But we had a great conversation on our welcome session today, which I think will continue. We'll continue right here in the larger group. By the way, for those of you joining us on YouTube, either live or recorded, feel free to interact with the comments, the chat. We did expand the room by popular demand. We're going to see how this goes. So far, it seems pretty manageable. We'll see once we get to open up the mics. We'll see what happens here. But I just told admin that, look, we're at capacity every day before we even start, right? Like one day last week, I actually had to kill the rooms just so that I could get in it. Like the host wasn't even allowed in because we were beyond capacity. The host can't even get in because he was only 10 minutes early instead of a half hour early, right? So anyway, we got that handled. We'll see how that goes. But again, our YouTube channel is live and well, which, by the way, we just got a vanity URL. So if you go to youtube.com/C for channel/Blue Sky Daily, you will find it. So we are now officially Blue Sky Daily on YouTube. But the conversation we were having in our welcome session was led to, we had, the usual stuff that I talk about with new members, making sure that they're well-oriented. They know where to go, where to find the stuff. They know who their accountability rep is, right? And all that. Which we overhauled last week. Thank you all for your participation in that, because we had some people that were kind of lost in orbit and like, who's my accountability rep and where's the planet that I'm supposed to land on? So we got all that handled. So that's good. So hopefully all that's in order now. But the conversation kind of evolved into, what about in these times that we're in right now, where a lot of people are noticing the changes that are going on, either by demand or by decree, or however it is in your jurisdiction. People are not necessarily walking down the street going to their local boutique to buy stuff, right? They're turning to Amazon. They're having different buying habits which are being formed right now. How does that affect us as people who are looking to prosper in these changing times, right? Well, that's a great question. That's a great question. And I'll tell you what, this is a topic that has come up a couple times here, because one of the things that I've mentioned to you all, and that I've that I have to remind myself of all the time is that in times of change, the learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. So what part of this can I be responsible? What part of whatever this is, this situation, these conditions, temporary or chronic, whatever, right? What can I have an effect with? What part of this can I be cause over? I'm not the effect. I cause effects, right? And yes, circumstances may have changed and may be temporarily, seemingly uncongenial to my purposes. Yes, we got some new barriers to overcome, but how can we overcome readily and without missing a beat? In fact, how can we use them to our advantage? That's the conversation that goes through my mind. And it's not an easy one to have with myself because, after all, we're creatures of habit, right? I want things to be the way they are. I want to know consistently, where's my cheese? Any of you have read the book, what was his name? Spencer something, Who Moved My Cheese, right? It was about living life, I guess, like a rat looking for cheese, which is kind of interesting metaphor. I think there's loftier ones, but so my cheese isn't there anymore, right? Let me move it. Now, the reality of the situation is there are a lot of people who are waking up and smelling the coffee for the first time. It's like, oh my goodness, regardless of the future of my brick and mortar, my insurance business, my fill in the blank, whatever, doctor, lawyer, plumber, okay, regardless of all that, I should probably have an online income stream. I mean, that would be smart. Was it Warren Buffett that said, if you don't learn how to make money while you sleep, you will work till the day you die? We should probably learn how to do that. But what about these current circumstances? But what about the delays with fulfilled by Amazon? But what about the shipping delays? I got stuff that I ordered a week ago. It isn't here yet. I'm used to getting my Prime order in 24 to 48 hours. Okay, that's temporary conditions, right? This will get handled. I think we're going to see a lot of things getting handled here really quick by the end of April. Okay, but in the meantime, what can you do? What part of this can you be responsible for? I did some math today. I did some math just because I'm not a math guy. So it's a very deliberate action. When I pull out a calculator, there's a reason that I'm pulling out a calculator. And I did some math, and it's very simple math. And you guys are probably going to laugh when you hear about the math that I just did. I was thinking, you know what? Yesterday was my brother's birthday. So he's one guy. He lives in the United States. So do I. So do 330 million other people. Just considering the United States, the largest consumer market in the world. I wonder how many birthdays there are per day. So I took 330 million divided by 365. Okay. I don't remember the exact numbers. It's about 900,000 people a day whose birthday it is, assuming that birthdays were equally distributed exactly across all 365 days of the year, not to mention leap years, which of course is an extra day. All right, so that's almost 1 million people a day. It's really simple math. If I had just looked at the numbers, well, 300 million, 330 divided by 365, that's almost 1 million a day. But I grabbed a calculator just to be sure. Think about the marketplace now. If we only appealed to people whose birthday it was that day, just in the United States, and if you could saturate that market with whatever the birthday item is, you would have almost 1 million customers a day buying your stuff. If your profit on that widget, that birthday item, that whatever it is, was only $1, that would be almost $1 million a day in profit. Just with birthday celebrants. Guess what? Different people like different stuff on their birthday. It kind of brought up a question for me, though, or consideration. It's like, well, I wonder, I mean, Hallmark and these greeting card companies must be making a killing. $6 for a piece of cardboard with some fancy writing on it? Really? $6? You guys ever go into the store and get a greeting card for your spouse, your significant other, the birthday celebrant, right? $6? You know what? I'm going to get my daughter over here. You know what? I'm going to print out. You got some art you like? I'm going to print this out on a piece of paper. It's going to spit out of the copy machine. You can do a little crayon drawing, and they're going to like it even better. It's not going to cost me $6. Okay. But I'm just thinking, wow, that's an interesting marketing play right there. Now, not every single person in the United States, just using the United States as an example, because it's the biggest one, not every person is going to go and part with $6 every time there's a birthday to celebrate. Okay. But they're going to buy those cards by and large for, let's say, the 10 closest people to them in their life. So that's $60 a year. The vast majority of that has to be profit. I'm sure they're paying the artist and the copywriter. Okay. But $6 for a card. And that's just something you're going to throw in the garbage next week. What more can we do? You see what I'm thinking of here, my friends? I'm thinking of scale. I'm thinking of what can you do? What can you do to get something that, even if you made it, and I know you're not here to just make $1, okay, but I'm using a ridiculously conservative example, something that would have mass appeal, that people buy, not just because of the logic, because they got their calculator out and they did the spreadsheets, but they're going to buy it anyway, maybe as a gift for the birthday person or for themselves, okay, where it's got mass appeal and you can get in front of people using the largest retail platform in the world, which is Amazon, right? Yeah, we got some uncertainties, some delays, some, what have you, temporary, okay? But you load your guns now, right? The floodgates open. They never close. That's the thing. I'm still ordering stuff on Amazon, which is not considered essential. And yeah, it's going to take a week to get to me or whatever. Fine. I'm still buying it. The boxes are still showing up, just not in 48 hours in some cases. In some cases they are. Some cases the stuff is still moving fast. So my point is, think big. Think big with this. There's a huge opportunity out there. And you know what, just considering that there's about 20,000 babies a day born on planet Earth, if you could saturate just one day's production of humans, that'd be 20,000 new customers a day. And they all get older, every day they get one day older and their interests change. How do you saturate that? It's impossible, right? I want you to think big on this. And I know a lot of our new members, especially, which is who this whole forum was originally designed for, is to help new members, get grooved in and figure out where the water cooler is and where the copy machine is and all that, and to get in the mindset of all this, right? That's what we do here. A lot of times we may thinking in terms of, I'd like to get my first product going, right? How long until I can get my first product going? Well, you can go pretty quick, okay? But I want you to think bigger than that. Sophie would like for you to think bigger than that. And by her example, you certainly can. She listed over 140 products in her first year. All right. So we're not just thinking of this big triumphant first product release. Hooray, we did it. We got one. No. How about your first 10? Let's start thinking about that, right? And let's start thinking about, in fact, I cover this with our friends who have gone through our business launch strategy session, okay, is three factors to product selection, which are in a macro sense, will help you, consider what direction you want to go in before you narrow it down into specific product research. And those three things are, I already mentioned two of them. One is broad appeal, right? Lots of people are interested in that kind of a product, okay, as evidenced by their buying habits already. Hallmark cards is just one example that came up for me. Millions of people buy that stuff, okay? Second factor is that you can actually get in communication with them, right? You can find these people and you can enter a conversation that's already going on in their mind. Well, you got the biggest retail platform on planet Earth, and there's other platforms too, okay? But the point is that you can communicate with a lot of people, and these people can find you and you can find them via the internet. And we've got one platform here that you're learning about right now, which happens to be the biggest, which will allow you to do that very readily, okay? So there's a large appeal. You can get in communication. You can find these people. And number three is that they are irrationally passionate about this stuff. It is not rational for me to spend $6 on a Hallmark card, but God help me if I don't when it's my wife's birthday or our anniversary or our other anniversary, right? We got our wedding anniversary. We also have the day we met anniversary, which, by the way, we met on the internet. It's kind of interesting. So I know these days that doesn't sound like a big deal, but back in the 1900s when we met on the internet, that was kind of like, whoa, you met somebody on the internet and they weren't like a Martian or something? Yeah, it worked out. Here we are decades later. So just consider that, right? Is it broad appeal, right? Can you get in communication with people about it? Can you find those people and impinge on them? And number three, are they irrationally passionate about it? Will they spend $6 on something worth 50 cents? again, that's arguable. What was Sophie's first brand that she sold for over $1 million? Her tea from Nepal, Nepalese tea bags or something, right? What's so great about tea? Did tea exist before Sophie? Of course it did. Of course it did. Well, here, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, is why you want this tea. And here, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, is why you will pay more for this tea. And she scaled that up to the point where it was dominant. That's the tea you want. And here comes the big conglomerate saying, you know what? We don't want to compete with you. We want you to walk away. Here's $1 million to get out of here. Now it's our tea. Sold. $1 million payday. Right? So think big with this, guys. Think big. And whatever the circumstances are, which may or may not at this moment seem optimal or congenial or whatever, let's make some lemonade. Okay, let's make it happen. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Mark, you and I have had nice conversations on this here and there about, shoot the alligator that's closest to the boat. What can you do right now to cause, and thinking ahead, right, to cause yourself to just explode into the marketplace? Because conditions will change. Again, they're always changing. That's one constant in the universe, is change. Nothing rests. Everything's either growing or disintegrating. Nothing rests. Look at the life cycle of anything, a tree, right? Seedling grows, big tree, right? Keels over, turns into dirt. Here comes the next tree, right? That is the life cycle. Nothing rests. So I hope I'm giving you in a philosophical sense some self-belief, right? That, oh my goodness, I'm growing too, or I'm disintegrating. Well, let's choose, because that is a choice. Okay, you're either growing or disintegrating. I'd like for you to consider how big you can make this and how fast. All right. So raise your standards, get unreasonable. Let's take some action, and anything you can get done today that moves you in the direction of having your first 100 products listed, so that the birthday guy can go spend, $20 on your widget or whatever it happens to be. And there's almost 1 million birthday guys every single day just in the United States. Right. I'm just throwing out some ideas here, guys. Just throwing out some ideas. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope you got some ideas and some value, some things coming up in your own noodle about this, because it's not about what I think, it's about what you think and what you take action on. So I'm going to stop talking now, and we're going to open up the conversation for the rest of our participants, of which there are many. Here we go. We're way over 100, and we'll see if we can keep this in order. Who wants to talk? Teresa's got the floor.
Hi, guys. Hey, we are leaving on vacation tomorrow, so we won't be here for a little over a week. But we do have internet. This is our cabin in southern Utah. We do have internet, but I don't know how good it is. So maybe I can sneak in on a meeting in between there, but we'll miss you terribly. And
You won't miss me. You'll see me on YouTube.
yeah, that's true. We can do
You
that.
will miss me.
I absolutely, Jackie, I will miss you.
Have fun.
I'm digging that Wyatt Earp shirt as well. You guys been to Tombstone?
Oh, no, actually, we
No?
haven't been.
Oh,
This is a local shirt company.
oh, okay.
I bought him one that says Wyatt Earp American Reckoning on the front, and on the back it says, "Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens."
Well,
And then I also bought him one for Doc Holiday.
oh, very nice. Very
His
nice.
old
Well,
beaver Huckleberry on the back. So
I've
that's-
been to Tombstone many times. It's a favorite stop for us bikers here in Arizona. So yeah, it's pretty cool. They shoot each other dead at the OK Corral every single day except Christmas. Every day.
Every day.
Every day. Reenactment of the gunfight at the OK Corral. Kids are going nuts. There's Doc Holiday. There's Wyatt Earp. There's the Clantons and the McClarys. They got Boot Hill over there with the original tombstones all, restored. And it's really, really cool. If you're into the American West, Tombstone, it is awesome. So,
Mhm.
yeah. All right, guys, who's next? That's it. We're done. Oh my
Hello,
goodness.
John.
Oh,
Hello, John.
yes. Hey, Tolu.
Just about what you said about Sophie's tea.
Yeah.
I have an idea. It's one a food. It's a product, consumable product, and which is very high. But I need to have it in a different format. When I had a chat with my coach, she said no, it's saturated. I shouldn't go near it. but Sophie's tea was already saturated, but she was able to bring something out of it. So what advice will you do? Because the form, although the consumable food is common, it's popular, yeah, it's true, but the way I'm going to bring mine is not yet available.
Mhm.
She said, oh, it's saturated, I shouldn't go near.
Well, your coach has some insights on that. If she gave you some specific reasons that you want to tread lightly or be cautious, then take those into account. I don't know that I can directly answer your question without more data, nor would I want to lead you astray. So I don't know if I have a direct answer to your question, Tolu.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I get it.
Okay. And the other question again, sorry, before somebody else come, about the Amazon sellers account.
Mhm.
What we have on the product university as samples to follow is totally different from the UK one, because I tried my day before yesterday to open one,
Mhm.
which I've already opened, but I'm going to have a video chat with them on Wednesday, 4 o'clock, for verification of my passport. But it's totally, they didn't ask us about any tax, the
Okay.
tax form. So it's totally different. So I don't know whether I'm the one doing something wrong.
No, it just may be simpler. In fact, we had an Amazon coach come out here. Was it last week, guys, or the week before? You know what? We can do that again. Maybe we have another guest speaker out here, another Amazon coach, come out and address some of these questions that come up for new sellers. So I'm not in the UK, and so I can't tell you what it looks like, on your end. You're seeing what it looks like. So maybe there's somebody else on here right now who maybe can, because I know we got a lot of Brits on here right now who are further down the road than Tolu. Anybody got any insights on what Tolu's asking as far as setting up your British Amazon sellers account? I know this is rather, just computer screen kind of stuff, but.
And selling in USA, selling
Okay.
in North America. Actually, automatically, it has picked up North American, Japan, and Europe for me.
Okay.
The system picked it up automatically. Just tick it off. I couldn't untick it.
Okay. Well, that's fine. You can sell in those places. That's great. You can sell wherever you want. Everything's going to go through your tax jurisdiction in the UK, right? So you should be fine with that. Is that what you're talking about? Is setting up in the UK and selling into other places?
Yeah,
Right.
what Sophie said, we should try and start in USA.
Of course.
So yeah, which is okay. So that's why I'm saying that when I was opening my account, it didn't give me that option. It has automatically ticked North America, Japan, and Europe for me.
Okay. Good. As long
So,
as you got North America, you're in good shape. You can always add other
Okay.
stuff too. Yeah. It sounds like a non-issue at this point.
Okay.
So like you're all set. Keep on trucking. You're good.
okay, thank you.
All right. You are so welcome. I think we heard Kathy and Dale jumping out here.
Hi, John. Hey, we were just wondering what happened to Malcolm. We haven't seen him in 2 weeks.
Malcolm's okay. I
Oh,
talked to
good.
Malcolm last week, and he's the community that he's in has experienced a lot of hardship.
Oh,
But
wow.
he's alive and well, and Malcolm will ride again.
All right, good day. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Thanks, Jen.
asking. And
I
Malcolm,
do-
if you're seeing this on YouTube, then you're loved and missed apparently. So there's that. Virginia,
Yes, I have a quick question. I am
Yes.
brand new. And
welcome.
thank you. This is my first session with you. In fact, you and I are going to talk tomorrow evening. I'm in the Denver metro area, so I guess I'm one time zone away from you possibly. But my question is, in selecting a coach, I think I'm going to stick with someone who's in, the United States as opposed to Australia, New Zealand. But I was wondering if anyone had any recommendations on any particular coach to give, or if I'm allowed to ask that question. It's nice to look at their bios and all, but I just want to make sure I have a good fit with someone so that there are no, personality conflicts or completely different, I don't know, schools of
Okay.
thought. I want to follow everything they tell me to do, but anyone have any top 3 suggestions or anything?
I'll give you mine, and that is number one, availability. Knowing that they're all competent, I would go with availability first, because some have been coaches in the Blue Sky community longer than others, and therefore they are booked out in some cases a month in advance, maybe even more. Okay, so speed is important too. So go with availability. You can change your coach later if you decide that there is something unworkable about that relationship. It's very uncommon that that happens because once again, they're all quite competent and they're all here to work with you. So they're very attentive to you. Any other considerations on that? I'll open up the floor. But I can't imagine what other considerations there would be. Any other thoughts on that? None?
John, it's Griselle. I spoke to my coach this weekend, and my advice to anybody looking for a coach is just kind of be prepared. Our coaching session went well. We found out that the products that I wanted to get into weren't viable. They were actually too competitive, but I got a lot out of it just simply being prepared. Like I had my questions ready and everything like that. They're there to help you. So you're not really dealing with personalities as much as just kind of like just value their time and what you want to get out of it. There's disappointment. It's just like, oh man, you get emotionally attached to products, but it was great. It was a really, really fun, fascinating experience.
Thank you, Griselle. And Griselle's an American, obviously from her accent, living in the UK right now. So Virginia, just so you know, the feedback you just got was from another person who was very much in your position just a week or so ago. Griselle, thank you also for your insights on viability or non-viability of a product that you may have felt emotionally attached to. That's a dangerous spot, right? So
very dangerous. In fact, you spend a lot of wasting time because you want to stick a square peg into a round hole. And it's one of the lessons I'm learning of just, once it's not viable, you have to leave it alone. Yeah, you got to leave it alone because you just, they're the experts. I mean, the example that you gave to Lou of just like, well, it's not a product. It's a product that they've never seen before. It's just like the path of least resistance, at least with the first item. This is our learning curve. And I definitely don't want to go into something that they're advising us against. That's just in my mind.
And yeah.
John?
That's
very
right.
good.
That's
All right, so we're gonna we got a few people here. Let's go with whoever's saying John, and then we're gonna go.
John
to
Hyder.
Amy. John Hyder, go ahead, sir.
Hi, welcome everybody. Everybody, when they talk about their coach, they always talk about be prepared. Be prepared for what? Just coach, just the products? Or what other topics do you talk with I haven't talked to my coach yet.
Oh, we got to get
well,
that
this
done,
is
John.
Bernadette. Well, this is Bernadette. When I met with my coach, like they suggested, you have 5 products that you vetted on your own. I had the product assessment worksheet completed. I walked her down the path of my analysis on how I got to my yes or my no. Meaning I showed her, that I checked Pinterest, I checked Etsy, we shared the screen, I showed her what I did in Helium-10. I showed her my whole assessment and validation process. I showed her the links to my suppliers and things like that. So that was my definition of prepared, which she told me I was prepared, that I did all of the right steps, so. I just wanted to tell Griselle not to feel alone in this, because definitely I went through the same thing. I was very prepared, as Bernadette says, and by the time I finished, the first section, like 5 of the products that I had chosen were not, really pro coach, saying that they were like, the product. And then we started again, and here we are, like going and going again until I suppose, one of them will just be okay with the coach and with me. But yes, it was very helpful
how she, even with all the studies, as Bernadette says, that you do, you still need that coach to tell you, you know, you are going the right way and this is what you should do after her, you know, her coaching classes.
Right, and I had an interesting experience because I presented 5 products. 3 I had come to a yes, 2 a no. And the 2 that I indicated as a no, my coach thought was a good idea. So that surprised me, you know, so she gave me some insight on the 2 that I, you know, had crossed off my list, and, you know, and her reasoning as to why, you know, she thought it would be a good idea to move forward with the 2 no's that I had indicated. And then just to put it out there too, my coach is from Australia, and outside of the time difference, because we meet at midnight, but I find, you know, that it was okay to have a coach that was not from, who's not from the US. If anybody cares about that, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, sometimes it's better to get a more of an objective view from somebody who's not in your existing market, right? In terms of actually being there. It's called objectivity. So any location will do. Everybody's really tuned in to what's going on in the US market, especially. Griselle, I'm sorry, I keep muting Griselle and Jackie because we got background noise on both your lines. You guys want to?
Sorry, go ahead, Jackie.
I got background noise.
It's your microphone is rubbing or something is happening. It's just rubby something.
Sorry, it fell off the bed.
Okay, we're good.
Anyway, I just wanted to say I had contacted Amanda, and I talked to her this morning at 5:45, and you know, the fact that she sold in the U.S., that was the main thing she kept saying right away. Is make sure you're going to sell in the U.S. and check your manufacturers in the U.S. And she and that surprised me a lot too, because I had no idea where I was going to go for manufacturers with the problem going on. So I didn't find it a problem. It was just the internet delay got me. I had trouble with that one, but other than that, there was no problem. And I, you know, so if you really got something you want to go, I would say maybe look at someone in the UK.
Good. Thank you. Griselle.
Just going back to his question about being prepared. I wasn't as prepared as Bernadette, just so you know. I kind of came in with my product ideas. I did my analysis, and working with my coach, she actually said, oh, here's the step you're missing, and this is why it's not viable. And it was a whole section about like keywords and ranking and all of that stuff. So my prepared went like step, like finding a product, also doing low competition, low review count, all of that stuff. But the other component that I was missing was kind of like keywords and what you're ranking for. And I talked about like learning the tools. So my homework was definitely going back and understanding that tool on Helium 10, so that when I do have my second meeting with my coach, it's a more comprehensive thing. I'm more prepared. So there's different levels of prepared, but I definitely got something out of my conversation with my coach. So if that helps, anyway.
I think so. Thank you, Griselle. Rebecca, you've got the floor.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go to Rebecca and then Edward. Rebecca, please.
Hello. I had the opportunity to talk to more than one Blue Sky expert coach about a certain product group that I was looking at, and they had very different opinions from one another. And also I had spent a lot of time in research, and I didn't think that my own opinion was insignificant. But I did decide, one of them thought it was a go, the other one thought it was not a good idea. And I did decide to wait and not make it my first product. But I think if you are passionate about something and you have done extensive research, I don't think you should totally discount your own opinion about it. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rebecca. That was what I told my coach because I'm a keto addict. So I have, so what I decided, although what I gave her, I prepared it just like Benedict. I had 10 products. One was approved, which is okay. She said I should go and find a supplier. But the other ones, like the food commodities that you can buy, I said I will come back onto that after doing my first something because I'm very passionate about it and I know I'm going to sell it. So I'll just leave it like that.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Tolu. Edward, and then Evelyn. Edward, you've got the floor.
Hey, John. Good morning. Hey, I've heard a lot of stuff the last week or so since I started this, so I'm seem a little overwhelmed at the moment. I've heard about helium-10 and about virtual addresses and Dunford numbers and LLCs, and I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. So I want you, if you could bring me back to what I should be doing first, besides the 4 modules and reading the book. Doing the things as we get through the steps in the module, doing those things that are suggested at that point. I'm guessing correct, or could you give me some? Can you give me this elephant I'm trying to eat? Can you give me back to taking one bite at a time?
Yeah, you know what, Edward, I think you just said it. So we don't want you to be overwhelmed and confused. That's not what you signed up for. We want the correct amount of whelm, not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed. Okay, the correct amount of whelm. And so the way to do that, 3 tips that I give all brand new members. Okay, number 1 is make sure you understand every word, because you want confusion to turn on just like that. Go past words you don't understand, because there's no way you can execute the data if you don't understand the words. Second tip is execute the data, right? Actually commingle theory with practical application. Right now, I don't see Zoom. I use Zoom as an example because we're all on it. Okay, like the technology is transparent to me. I don't see Zoom. I see you. Actually, in your case, Edward, I don't, because your camera is off. But if your camera was on, I'd be seeing you. I see Rebecca. I see Tolu. I see her hat. I see John Hyder's forehead. There's Edward. There he is. All right. So good. So that's the second thing, is commingle theory and practical application, and you'll get experiential knowledge of it. Again, that's the correct amount of whelm. The third tip is to go at a proper gradient. Don't cram. Cramming is confusion. Okay. Cramming has its place, I guess, in academia. Okay. But here, we're here to get an effect, not to just be academics. All right. So you want to be able to increase your aptitudes and your competencies, and thereby your speed incrementally, which leads to an exponential increase in results. So it's good to see you, Edward. There he is. That's Edward, everybody. There he is right there. So anyway, I hope that helps, Edward. And look, yeah, do like Hal Elrod talks about in The Miracle Morning, right? So create some order in your life, and you'll see it all comes together, right? So I hope that helps without getting into like a big group counseling session or something. Those are my thoughts. Hold on, Edward, can I get an acknowledgement? Is that good perspective?
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's funny because you're talking about creating some order in your life. My whole family's kind of doing that, with both my kids coming home from college and trying to finish their work here. We're all trying to figure out how to get that structure back in your day so that you don't waste the amount of time you were talking about it being consistent. So we're trying to work on trying to figure out, you have to have a schedule. You gotta get up at the same time. You gotta have a routine, which they had when they were at Michigan State and Grand Valley. But now that they're home and doing online, you have to force it more. It's not forced by you having to go to this class or that class. So
that's it. Edward, you got it. Path of least resistance.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, look, what Edward just revealed is very valuable. And that is that as easy as it is to do the right thing, it's even easier to not do it. Right? So we got to put in some order. That's great. We're going to go to Evelyn, then Darren, and then Donna. Evelyn's got the floor, please. Evelyn, please. Evelyn, last call on Evelyn. We're going to go
I'm sorry. Yes. Hi.
There she is.
This is about niches and how many products we should bring to the table when we meet with our coach. I've already made a scouting trip to, as a matter of fact, that was him right now, to a certain place to scout out products. And the door opened and I met somebody that I'm consulting with who's an agronomist. And my idea was culinary gastronomical products because of the region that this is in. So I'm sort of attached to the idea of culinary products, and there's a lot to work with there. So my question for you is, that seems to me like a niche. My question is, could you define what a niche is? And really, is it not recommendable to come with products in the same niche? Or would you recommend that if I feel like there's a lot to work with there, could I go with that? Could you give me some guidance?
Sure.
You go with 10 products in the same niche, which is culinary gastronomical items?
Right. Well, I'm thinking many products in that area, but you want to start with a couple. Okay. So and as far as what a niche is, a specific specialized segment of the market for a particular kind of product or service. That's the definition of a niche. So it's recommended that before you have your first coaching session with a coach, that you select at least 5 products across 2 categories or niches. So that's a nice guideline. That's a stepping off point, though, right? Again, when we think about the whole topic of our talk today was raising our standards and our expectations, right? And so you don't have to be confined to just 10 products or just 2 niches or whatever. So it's really up to you. But I would say start by having a few offerings in a couple of different categories. I don't know if that answers your question. I feel like I'm saying that a lot on this call today. I don't know if that answers your question. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. So no, I understand. I don't have to like follow the letter. That's my academic teacher brain that I feel like I have to follow the letter in this program. But I can see that in this situation, there's so much to work there because this is a region of the world where there's it's a unique cuisine in Mexico. And there's I think that there's going to be a big demand for things there. And also some products that are things that everybody uses. So I think I'll just go with my idea that I can make a list of 10 products from there that are all in the same category, like, gastronomical products, and bring that to my coach. I think I'll just go with that.
Yeah. Let's start with that. People eat. I eat Mexican. I eat it 3 times a day. I think it's awesome. So there you go. We're going to go to, thank you. We're going to go to Darren and then Donna. Darren, please.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. So my question is obviously, I think you touched on it about having order. On the Facebook page, the files that are available, they don't seem to tie up with the different modules. And I was wondering, is there any way they can be filed or ordered in such a way that they relate to the modules? Because there's been a few documents that they've said we would have availability of, but so I'm trying to trawl through all those files and not finding them. So it was things like the sales agreement if you're dealing with a foreign a manufacturer, shipping templates or whatever. So I just wondered, is there any way, I know it's going to be a bit of a mission, but is there any way that can be filed so that the different files relate to the modules that we work through? Please.
I'm not tech, nor am I customer support, but I just put the customer support email address in the chat. So it's customersupport@knowledgesource.com.au. If you find anything lacking or missing or confusing or any disparities between data, please let them know.
Okay,
and they will help you.
Are you looking on the product university resources where you're looking at your modules? Have you looked in that section? Because there's a resources section where some of those are actually filed for you as well as the ThinkBook.
I'm looking under files, but
no, not on the Facebook page, on the website where you find your module.
Okay. Yeah.
On there, you've got your product navigation, and there's a section with resources in there, and there's some other files in there that perhaps would be helpful.
Okay. So that, all right. Yeah, I see that. Well, that's answered my question.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Amy, as well. Kathy and Dale saying Amazon Navigator is the first place to start before going to the other modules. Then the rest starts flowing. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Maybe
Thanks,
they
guys.
can make that more clear. Darren, thank you for bringing that up. I'm sure you're not the only one who had that question. We're going to go to Donna Bollinger for some thrills and excitement. Donna.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to tell Edward, I think that I felt the same way that he did. At first, very overwhelmed, but I'm just about through module 3 now. And I think it's a lot like learning a language, definitely. I love the repetition and everything starts making sense after a while, just like the language. So I agree with the order, the structure. And I just put a little earbud in and I take it when I'm doing the dishes or the laundry, or I've had to run to the grocery store. And I'm finding going to Walmart just so much fun because of everything I'm learning. And I listen to the course all through the whole store. And then if I need one of the resources, I'll come back to, the resources here, but I'll just take a screenshot while I'm shopping. And I'm just learning on the go. And I just I'm telling you, Edward, that it all starts to make a lot of sense and it's very exciting. And I can see why Sophie has a lot of energy because she loves doing it. And I hope we all do too.
Thank you, Donna. There she is. Always brightens our day. Donna Bollinger, ladies and gentlemen. Julia, you've got the floor. Then we're going to wrap up unless there's any burning desires. Julia, please.
Hi. So we had a lot of pre-chat before you got on, John, about sort of the business aspects of what to set up and when, LLC, and something about Paydex and all sorts of things. Company called PCS, Prime Corp Services. Is there, and I haven't gotten through everything yet, where would we find that kind of information about what do you really need to do? What do you really need to set up? Do you really need an LLC or a trust or a Dun & Bradstreet number? All of that. There's a lot of disagreement.
Yeah, I don't know that you need a D&B number, but in the United States, you definitely want an LLC. And that will lead to you getting a tax ID number.
Right.
And you should be good to go. Do you already have an accountant?
Yes, I do. And we have an LLC, so I'm not worried about that. But, people were saying it costs anywhere from $795 with Prime Corp Services to maybe $4,000 or whatever. And so anyway, is there advice that Sophie has on that so that everybody's not confused?
Great question. So Julia, you've got an accountant or a tax attorney, stick with them. Okay.
Right.
So Prime Corporate Services, we got a lot of people here in the United States who have never done anything entrepreneurial, right? They just work a job and W-2 and whatever. So in that case, well, let's go ahead and get an LLC set up. So you got a pass-through corporation, your accountant can work with that. Oh, you don't have an accountant? Well, great. Prime Corporate Services for a fee. Once again, they can do your accounting. So yes, it's a few $100s to a few $1,000s, depending on the reach of services that you want them to do for you. If you already have an accountant, stick with them.
Would you suggest having separate LLCs? Like we've got an LLC for something else, so
Yep.
we should set up a new LLC probably.
Yeah. So what is it? Well, it depends on state, of course. So $200, $300, set up an LLC.
Yeah.
And now you've got segmentation of entities. The other thing is, and again, I'm not a tax attorney or anything like that, but there are scenarios where you've got a corporation, which is a holdings company, which owns everything. And then you've got subsidiary companies, LLCs, right, that operate each individual business. So here's our Amazon business, here's real estate, here's our branding company, whatever. Okay. So the subsidiary companies do everything and they can be sued for what they do in the marketplace, but they don't own anything. Therefore, they have no assets. Therefore, they can't divulge of any assets because the holdings company owns everything, but doesn't do anything. So what are you going to sue them for? They haven't done anything, right? So that's kind of again, it's an Americanism. We're in the most litigious, country on planet Earth. So that's the kind of scenarios that some people set up just to limit their own liability for frivolous lawsuits and, the nonsense that goes on in our country. So
I have
okay, I
one
hope that helps.
unrelated question, but it's related to the coaching calls. Do we need to have the Amazon account, pay the $40 a month before we call our coach so that we can do the research right there on Amazon?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing you definitely want to do, and I think we would have probably unanimous agreement on this. If anyone disagrees, please disagree. You definitely want to get into product research with Helium 10, the paid version of Helium 10. That's, from what I hear, that's the magic from all of you. That's what I hear from you guys. You're the authorities on this stuff. Does anyone disagree with helium-10? Okay. Good.
John,
Yes.
I had a call on Saturday with Stanley, I can't think of his last name, from Prime Corporate Services.
Okay.
And I'm supposed to speak with him today. Is it really necessary to go with them? Because that's going to cost me altogether close to $4,000.
That's the full suite of every possible service they could possibly sell you.
Yeah,
Do you have an accountant?
I did have one, but that was when I lived in New York. I don't have one now here in
Okay.
New Jersey.
Well, I've heard both sides of the fence. I've heard, at Prime Corporate Services, they saved me so much time. It cost me a couple $100 extra. I could have probably just called the Secretary of State or done the thing on the web. Okay, fine. You want to delegate that? Delegate that to them. They get paid, right? Same thing with the accounting. I pay thousands of dollars a year for accounting. Not to Prime Corporate Services, but I've been using an accountant for years. So I don't need that service from Prime Corporate Service. I already pay somebody to do that. And if I was an accountant, I would do it myself, but I'm not, nor do I intend to be, nor am I interested. Not interested, right? So you guys do that. Here's a couple $1,000.
Yeah, that's my thing. I'm not interested in doing it all myself. But that seems like an awful lot of money.
Okay, relatively speaking, which I guess comes back to right how we started our conversation today, which is maybe we should raise our standards, right? There's billions of dollars a day changing hands on the internet every day. So let's scale this thing up. Let's get some action going. Yeah, $3,000-4,000 for a year's worth of accounting and legal services seems like a lot when you're not making any money doing the services that you're supposed to be doing, right? So we got to get this train moving, and then that'll seem rather small. And I'm very frugal, by the way. I am very frugal. Like I want to see, I pay $10 for something. I want to be dazzled and delighted. Okay. So when we pay cookies, anything, right? it's a bit of a stretch for my mind sometimes, but that's just, I guess, growing up how I grew up, but I hear you, Gail. And I would go ahead and explore that. Do you have to buy the $2,000 tax thing up front? No, you don't. They're gonna try and sell it to you, though.
He's putting a time limit on, otherwise it's going to be more expensive.
Oh my goodness! Oh, act now, ladies and gentlemen, act now.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
Yeah, this isn't a ShamWow infomercial. Okay, so you do what you know is right for you, and yes, you can do it incrementally, and yes, you will have to do it. It will not necessarily with Prime Corporate Services, but paperwork's got to be done, right? Welcome to the modern world. I guess part of the the plus side of having all this global reach and internet marketing, and as wonderful as that is, the downside is you get to do all this other stuff, which you don't necessarily like to do. I guess the alternative would be go get a log cabin, chop wood, carry water, right? You can have little campfires and stuff. And that's it, right? Nothing. Okay. I mean, there are Amish people in the world. I'm not saying they're right or wrong or better or worse. I'm just saying that that's a choice.
Yeah.
You could do the Amish thing. I've done it at times. So, okay, there it is. But here we are talking on the internet. So you're going to be fine, Gail. We gotta wrap up. I got another meeting starting in 6 minutes. Guys, thank you for a great session today. Again, welcome to our brand new members. This one ran a little bit long. I got some good ideas for. We're gonna have a fun conversation tomorrow. So join us there.
John?
Again, if you're seeing us on YouTube.
John?
Yes, John.
Can you leave the room open for us to have our discussion?
I can.
That's very, very.
Thank you.
Okay, John.
Thanks, John.
Your wish is my command, sir. Rub the bottle, and
Thanks,
it
John.
cometh forth with great
Thank you.
bounty. All right, my friends. I'll see you
Thanks
guys
a lot,
later. Let
John.
me go ahead and stop the recording. And recording stopped. And let's take us off of YouTube. See you guys later. Bye for now.